weird. As soon as I hit the go live button, something cut out. Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Homebell Workshop. I hope you're all having an awesome morning or awesome day. Let's just put it away. Hopefully we don't have some internet issues this morning. Things seem to be a little bit slow today. I'm not sure why. I might have to change some network stuff. But anyway, what are you guys up to this fine Wednesday? We're here in the workshop. I'm working along on the acoustic. I'm in the middle of the little tedious part of notching the kerfings to fit the braces in there. I'm hoping to get that box closed today. I hope. Fingers crossed. I'll show you where I'm at here shortly. Nicholas is here. Good morning, Nicholas. And Sam's here. Sam says, hello, everyone. What's going on, Sam? I hope you all are doing great. And what are you working on? Do you have any projects in the works? Nicholas says, cracking my mahogany sides on my first bend attempt with the actual guitar wood. Oh no. Yeah, your sides cracked when you're bending them? Oh man. Hopefully it's not too bad and you can fix it. Man, this is really lagging. I'm going to see if I can switch. I'm probably going to hope I don't end this. Uh-oh, what'd I do? Stay with me, guys. I did something and I can't see you now. Don't go anywhere. I can't see you at the moment. What did I do? Oh no. Stay with me. There we go. Sorry. I was trying to swipe something here and I swiped into some menu I've never seen before. Sorry about that. I'm going to try to change something here. If it doesn't work, I'll lose you. Stay with me. Stay with me if you're still there. Bear with me. I'm sorry, I jacked everything up there for a second. Hopefully everything's still here. And we're good, I hope. Sorry about that. All right, it looks like we're back and everything seems to be a little smoother. So we're going to give this another shot. So back to Nicholas. Nicholas says kind of frustrated, so back to more practice. Yeah, Nicholas, I'm sorry, man. Sorry you're having some difficulties there with that. I know when I bent my first set of sides, I did have a friend help me out with that and kind of show me the ropes. And even still, I was nervous. But thankfully, everything went okay. And then when I bent these sides here, I did that one by myself. And it's kind of nerve-wracking because you don't really know for sure. You just hope you got everything figured out and you're doing everything right. But sometimes they just crack, and unfortunately, that's a drag. But if it's not too bad, I know that you can, some of that will sand out. Maybe you can put some CA glue or something in there and kind of solidify things, sand it out. It might be salvageable, depends on how bad it's broken, but and I'm sorry you're having issues with that. And Harry Dude's here. Harry Dude says, "What's up, dudes?" What's up, Harry Dude? How's everybody in the land of Australia? You'll probably be happy to know that it is now cooling off a little bit here. Today was our coolest morning we've had yet, which means that you're going to be warming up, so you don't have to deal with the cold. So hopefully that's of some encouragement. Nicholas says, still hear you, pick froze. Yeah, hopefully everything's okay now. Sam says, you could do with a Bluetooth microphone now that you're more popular on YouTube. I actually have a wireless microphone, and I've thought about using it for these lives, and I might still. I have a, little lapel deal that I could use. Nicholas says, all good now. Nice. Excellent. Harry Dude says, came in good for a second, now frozen, but audio is okay. Be Blessed is here. Be Blessed Desert Art says, you are certainly screwed up. I don't disagree there. Nicholas says, still here. Harry Dude says, seems good now. Nice. Be Blessed. Slow down a wacky smoke. No, that's not the problem, buddy. Sam says, sorry about what the fudge in my screen name. That's all right. It says fudge. It's fine. Sam says 31 in the UK. What is 31? That's about 80, upper 80s. Fahrenheit, anyway. Robert's here. Good morning, Robert. Robert says, hello, everyone. Be Blessed says, my shipping containers, awesome 40-foot, all insulated, all electric, AC, solid wood floors, all free. Nice. That's awesome. The insulation, that's the key. Right on. Let's see. Sim12 says, greetings to you from North Yorkshire. Sorry, I probably said that wrong. UK, keep up the good work. Right on. Thank you and welcome. UK representing today. Right on. Right on. That's awesome. Sim12, what are you working on? You got any projects in the works? Sam says DeWalt battery fans are worth getting. Interesting. It's not probably something I would get because I don't have any DeWalt battery tools of any sort. But I have seen several of those battery fans by the different makers, and it seems kind of cool. Pun intended. Robert, it's 74 degrees here in north central Oklahoma. Yeah, this morning when I woke up, it was 47 degrees. That's our coolest morning we've had yet so far. And I left the windows open last night. It was a little chilly in the house this morning. That's why I got the sweatshirt on. It's probably only, I can't see the thermometer exactly. I think it's only in the upper 50s now. It's supposed to not only really be in the 70s or so today. Which in a roundabout way is good news for Harry Dude. That means warm weather is to come. Yeah, there it is. Harry Dude says, bring on the warmer weather. Yes, please. Right on, right on. Well, guys, I'm going to try to grab this acoustic really quick and show you kind of where I'm at on that right now. So hang on, I got to step out of the frame here for just a moment and try to grab this thing. So I am in the process. It's might be hard to see. Yeah, you can kind of see. I'm cutting the notches into the top and the back to get everything fit. I've got the notches cut in the back for the braces to sit into. The back is ready to be glued on. I'm working on getting everything fine-tuned for the top, and then I'm going to do a little bit of brace carving, and hopefully by this afternoon I can get at least one of these glued on. If I'm lucky, I can get the entire box closed today. I don't know if I'll get that far because for me anyway, this step here is very tedious and it takes me a while. I know some guys have setups, that make it pretty quick, but I'm doing this all with files and fitting and checking and fitting and checking and filing and checking and and so it takes, for me anyway, it takes quite a bit of time. But we're getting there. I've got most everything fit. There's some, let's see, right in this area here in particular, I'm still working on getting everything to fit really well. There's something holding it up. I think that I have one of the braces. I'll show you. Set this down. I think that I have. I think it's this one in particular. These finger braces are supposed to fade into nothing, right into the top. They don't get tucked into the lining. But I think I've got these coming out a little bit too far, so I'm working on shaving these down just a little bit more. And then I'm going to do a little something with the X braces, just to get a little bit more flex. I've talked about this a couple of times, but there's not a lot of flex there, and I feel like it needs a little bit more. So I'm going to work on kind of reshaping these. I think I'm still trying to figure that out. If I want to put a slight scallop in these, or if I just want to lower them a little, I'm not sure. But I got to do a little bit of carving on that, and then we'll be adding some glue. So hopefully that's my goal for the day today, is to get at least one of those things, one of them glued in place. Maybe the back, because the back already fits. But I will see how that goes. Fingers crossed. Oh, let's see. Robert said, video froze here, time to reload. Interesting. Everything seems to be okay on this end. We started out right when I hit the live button. Everything kind of went wacky. But right now, it seems like it's okay. So I'm not saying it's not on this end, but it seems like it's working okay. Sam says, have you considered trying international foods from the UK, for example? Absolutely. I would always consider trying foods from any country, really. I'm not country specific when it comes to food. In fact, on the rare occasion that we go out to dinner, which we did last week once, and I had some tasty fish and chips, and man, was it good. Robert says, working again. Nice. Good to hear. Be blessed. Desert Art says, looks good. Right on. Thank you. And Mike's here. Mike says, morning. Do I need to build acoustic guitar jigs? Oh boy, the wife will kill me. Well, I mean, if you're going to build an acoustic, you probably are going to need some jigs. Be Blessed says, my Chola crosses are moving very well. Awesome, that is good. I'm glad to hear that. Those are cool. Sim12 says, that's a very nice project. I've just been doing some basic carpentry. Right on. That's awesome. What kind of projects have you been doing? Just some things around the house or something in particular? We like details. Feel free to share. Robert said, watch the video you did on making the finger planes. It was neat. Man, where did I do it? Did I lose one already? Where's that little one? Seriously, where'd it go? Anyway, these were so fun. I really enjoyed, especially making these little irons. I still have the majority of that saw blade left. I'm going to have to make a kitchen knife for sure, because that was super fun. I don't know what I did with the little, oh, there it is. The little one. I was just using it. This little one I think is my favorite. As I've said in the video, it cuts the best, and it really works nice. These two, you know, the one with the high angle, oh, I've already put it away because I didn't really like it. The one with the super high angle, yeah, I did get it cutting. If you saw the video, you know, it didn't cut hardly at all. I did spend some time trying to figure out really why. Is it because of the angle or what? And I did find that I didn't have the blade quite completely sharp. I think I had ground it just a tiny bit at an angle. So there was, right on one side, it was kind of blunted off. So I think maybe that's part of the problem. So when I did fix that and got it sharp completely across the blade, it did cut better, but it's still rough. Like in the video, like it wants to catch more. Clearly a lot more than these two with the 30-degree and the 35-degree, but still not my favorite. Um, I've been playing around. I even made another one, which I need to remake. That I want to do one with a curved bottom, a bit of a radius bottom, and this one, when I was shaping it, I went way too far, and the gap is huge. Um, but playing around with just some different shapes, and I kind of like this. Kind of like this shape. I know I need to remake it just to close that mouth up some, but yeah, just trying some different stuff. Super fun to do. And just cutting with the little things, just the little tiny wispy shavings is just really cool. But I do want to make another one with a curved bottom. I thought about curving this one, but it cuts so good right now, I don't want to screw it up. And really, heat treating the metal and everything, really, that was easy. There was nothing to it. You know, the hardest part was I had to go get one of those torches because I have the propane torch, but I don't think it gets hot enough as that map gas or map pro or whatever it is nowadays. So thanks, Robert. I really had a good time doing that. Like, I enjoy pretty much everything that I end up working on, but some projects really just kind of stand out above others, and this was one of them. Even though they're super tiny, but there's just something cool about these little things. Oh, let's see here. Let me get caught back up here. Be Blessed says, I came out of master plumber retirement to do some hack jobs. Right on. Tim says, good morning, y'all. Hope everyone's having a great day. I'm driving, so we'll be mostly lurking, but wanted to say hi. Oh, right on. Well, Tim, don't be texting or typing and driving. Be safe. But I'm glad you could tune in. Dallo's here. Dallo says, I got late. Good Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, Dallo. Right on. No worries about being late. I had a couple technical issues right off the bat, so you didn't miss anything. How are you doing this fine day? Sim12 says, I made a garden gate 6 foot high. Nice. That's awesome. What sort of materials did you use? Like a cedar wood or some treated wood or something like that? Let's see. Robert says, I watched a video yesterday from That Works. It was a bummer of a video for them. Their YouTube channel got hacked, caused them the loss of video revenue, and their site was down for a weekend. Dang it. It says, hackers suck. Yes, they do. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Were they able to recover their channel and get everything back? Man, I hope so. Sam says, you've got a great set of planes. Perhaps make a home-built storage box for them. I've been thinking about something like that. Something, I was even thinking about, maybe putting something up here along the top of just a little rack that I have my planes on now. I thought about, taking some, my phone's ringing, stop it. Probably spam anyway. I thought about taking and recessing some magnets. Something like these, recessing them so that it still will grab the plane but not damage the little irons, that I can just bloop, pop them up there. And I might do something like that, because I've been thinking about that, about how I want to store them, because I'm gonna make a couple more. I know that already. This one I want to redo and kind of fine tune the idea that I'm trying. But yeah, some kind of something like that. I probably will. Whether or not it'll be a video, I'm not sure. But I keep looking at that little rack up there, which is nothing fancy. It's a piece of MDF. But I just wanted a way to hold the planes. Harry Dude says, what does a curved bottom of the plane do for you? That is a great question. And honestly, I didn't mention anything about that in in the video. But so on the braces, you know, you have this curved portion. Well, if it's a straight, if the bottom is straight, right, you can't really get in there and do anything. But if the radius, if it's got a radius on there, I'm gonna find a better way to hold this. You know, where it curves a little bit, then, I mean, depending on the radius, you're going to be somewhat limited. But you could get in there. Like if I wanted to shave on this right now, I really can't, because the front and the front edge and the back edge of the plane hold it up. Let's see if I can get that where you can see it. See how it holds it up off of the wood? Even down here, there's a slight, man, yeah, there you go. There's a slight gap there that really doesn't let it grab into, you know, grab into the wood. And even way down here where it's almost flat, there's still a little bit of a gap, and the iron just starts to grab right at the end. So if it has somewhat of a radius, depending on how steep you make it, you can, you know, you can start to work in what is that, concave surfaces, and you know, and do a little bit more shaping rather than just straight. You know, I can go across here, you know, and take a little shaving on a flat surface, but by having a bit of a curved bottom, it lets you get in there somewhat and do curved surfaces. So that's why I want to make one that excuse me. I want to make one that's small like this, but has a slight curved bottom. That way, I could get in here and use the plane to kind of scallop this out a little bit. Scrolling back up. Be blessed says, Robert, my hacking made me 400 grand a year as a plumbing contractor. No, he was talking about not your hacking. He was talking about YouTube, the YouTube channel that got hacked, like computer hacking. Unrelated. So it's all good. Sam says DUT, driving while texting. DWT, I think it would be, right? Robert says you might also round over the top edge of the irons on the planes to help make sure it doesn't gouge your hand if it hangs on a cross grain. Yes, that is something that I've been considering. You may note, you probably noticed in the video that several of them there were several different lengths, and I've been kind of just playing around with the lengths. I might shorten them up just a little bit, but yeah, I did round it just a tiny bit, but it could, if I was shoving pretty hard, and it could gouge you. It's not super sharp on the corner, but yeah, that would probably be a good idea. You know, it's all things like that you kind of figure out. You know, I've never built these things before, so you kind of figure that out as we go. But yeah, that's probably, this one's a little sharper. Probably a good idea. Just round that over on the sander real quick. And Sam says autocorrect is a pain in the behind. I agree. Sim12 says 4x2 treated timber for the frame, painted black, and feather edge board for the inner panels. Nice. I bet that looks cool. That's awesome. Dallas says, I had not enough time to finish the soundboard. I designed and made some braces to attach on the soundboard. Maybe it's going to be done this week. Right on. Right on. Yeah, Dallo, I have I've notched the lining to accept the braces, and now I'm just doing a little bit of fine tuning, getting all the braces fit, and like I said, I'm hoping by today to have at least one of these glued on. I'm working on getting the box closed. Sam says, be cool if you had 4K streaming. I agree, but I'm lucky to stream in 1080. I'll take that for now. Robert says they were able to get their channel back, but we're still trying to recover a second channel. They also lost over half of their subscribers. They do forging videos of knives, swords, and other steel. Oh, I've probably come across some of their videos. The name sounds familiar, but yeah, I'm glad they were able to get it back. Be blessed says later. Back to hacking. Right on. Well, have an awesome day. Stay cool down there. Mike says small spoke shaves will allow you to get closer. Yes, it would. Yes. I don't have a small one. I've got two normal size Stanley spoke shaves. I'd be hesitant to try to do much carving on these braces anyway. I'm afraid I would catch and pull out a huge chunk. But yeah, a small one would probably work pretty good. Harry Dude says, thanks, dude. That makes sense. Right on. Sam says autocorrect is killing my jokes. He says, does anyone know how to turn off or reset the autocorrect settings on Samsung? I don't know. I don't think I've ever tried. There's got to be a way to turn it off. Predictive text or something. I don't know. Robert says, more for the channel likes, please. Right on. Right on. Yeah, guys. Thanks, Robert. Hit that thumbs up button if you're hearing my voice. Hit that thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Oh, let's see. Sam says I'm only able to set the stream to 720. Well, maybe it might be my internet is not fast. Even the internet coming into the house is not that fast. Maybe you can only upload in 720. That might be it. Mike says, why not sand the end of the brace we talking about? Down here, I will be. Once I finish reshaping these just a little bit, I will sand this. These all get left at a right around this thickness, and I do sand them. Once I've removed the majority of the material with a chisel, I will sand them. But what I'm wanting to do is this top right now, I've got it braced too heavy. There is not much flex in there. So what I want to do is put a light scallop right in here. Just basically take a little bit out of this middle. I want to carve a little bit of this out of here. And now you could sand that. I think it would take a little bit of time. So what I want to do is just go in and I'll probably plane a little bit out of the middle, and then I'll use a chisel to kind of rough it in, and then I'll sand in that scallop. But I need to loosen this top up a little, and I need to take some out of the middle of this of these braces. Probably all four sections. I could sand it. That would work. It would just take some time, I think. Robert says to Sam, might be able to do an internet search to find out how to turn it off. Yeah, Google. Look it up on the old Googs. Dastardly Dave is here. Dave says, sup all. Morning, Dave. How are you doing today? Now Sam says, well, try that. Thank you, good sir. Sam says, are you making a family set of guitars? You mean like for my family, or or like a matched set of some sort? Harry Dude says, could you use a Dremel with a mini sanding drum to put a fuller down the brace? Yes, I think you could. I think so. I've got some of those little drums. That might work too. I kind of want to try to do it by hand, even though it's going to take longer. But yeah, I think a sanding drum would probably make quick work of it. I might have to experiment. Mike says you could use an angle grinder if you want to do it faster. I mean, you're not wrong. Dallas says, how's the X brace height at the cross? It's a little high. I intentionally left these braces taller because I felt that the top needed a little extra bracing, but I don't think that was a good idea. Mainly because now I don't think it did need extra bracing, and now it's a little bit too stiff. I've read somewhere that to increase, if you want to increase the stiffness, you mainly increase the height rather than the width. I've heard that you get more stability or more strength in going taller than going wider. So I left them a little bit taller than what the plan called for. Now I'm wishing I didn't, honestly, but that's okay. We've got the means to shave them down some, and that's what I'm gonna do. So the reason I did that was because when I thicknessed the top, I almost felt like I went too far. I don't think I did, but it felt a little bit more flexible than I thought it would, even though it's thicker than what the plans call for. So I thought, well, I'll just brace it a little stiffer. I don't think I needed to, like I said, but we'll fix it. We'll fix it. It's no big deal. And really, I could glue it on like this, and I would imagine that it's probably going to sound just fine. But I'm trying to understand the whole flexible thing. Like, I'm trying to pay more attention, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and actually understand the feel. Like, how should things move? And, how does that relate to the sound of the guitar later? I don't really know, but there's not much movement, much flex right now, so I need to put a little bit more of that back. Sam says, matching set for the family. Yeah, I mean, if everybody played guitar, that would be kind of cool, but at least for like an acoustic, that's a lot of work to just build something that's going to sit around. Sam says, perhaps put an iPhone on the guitar to make it an iGuitar. Don't say that too loud. Someone will take the idea. Actually, have you seen those electric guitars that have the little electric pad thing? What the heck? Is it the Chaos Pad or something? Like a MIDI controller, basically, built into it? Mike says, wish there was a way to test flexibility in sound without having to glue it up. Let me show you something. I'm going to try to reposition this camera. Hopefully I can get it to where you can see me. So what I'm doing, I'm going to try to get in here. So let me show you here. So if I fit this in here, so we'll just pretend everything. I'm going to get where you can see me a little better here. What I am going to do, and I've seen others do this, once you have the top fit, which there's something going on right here. I got to figure out what is holding it up at the moment. But anyway, once the top is fit in place, then I've seen people, gently pressing down over the bridge area, and you can test how much deflection it gets. And that's kind of what I've been doing as I'm fitting things. I'm kind of just lightly pressing on the top. Is it 100%? Probably not, because it's not glued in place. But I think that's a pretty good way to see how much movement you've got. And at least that's how I'm judging it right now, just by pressing down in the center. And there's a little bit, but not a ton. So I think what I need to do is maybe take the string tension off of my other acoustic and try that and see how much that moves. Because I have zero complaints with the sound on that one. It's different materials, but still, this is the way I'm I'm kind of checking it. I've seen people build jigs kind of like this mold, but it has notches, so you can actually put the top into a little fixture and do kind of the same thing. But for right now, that's what I'm doing. I still don't know exactly how much flex I should have, but I'm just kind of using this to kind of gauge my progress anyway. I got to figure out what's holding this corner up right here. This brace fits in good. This one doesn't yet. And I'm not sure why. We'll figure it out though. Ooh, as I knock stuff over. Hang on, I'm coming back over here. I'm coming back. So that's the method that I'm using. Or not method, I guess, but that's the way that I'm checking it. Let's see, Backwoods Boy Small Engine says, hello, Homebuild Workshop. What's going on? Backwoods Boy Small Engines. She says, hello, everyone here in the chat. Sam says, how's the horse tack stand you made? It's good. It's good. I got, yeah, it's working out great. I've got another, my daughter just picked up another blanket that needs to go on there. But yeah, it's working awesome. It's a little larger than I probably needed to make it, but yeah, it's fine. Mike says, don't glue the bottom until you get the top to fit correctly. Easier to make adjustments as necessary. Yes, that's absolutely, you're absolutely right. And that's why I haven't glued anything. Yesterday, I finished fitting the back, and I wanted to glue it so bad, but I didn't for that exact reason, because I know that I need to hold it in place, and I'm looking at, flipping it upside down, looking inside, trying to see where something, might be hanging up. But yeah, I'm not going to glue anything until I have both plates ready to go and fitting as good as I can get them. And then I'll just, I'll set up the go bar deck at that point and get everything glued. I thought about even maybe not using the go bar deck and trying to glue both of them at the same time. That sounds like a headache though. I don't think I'll do that. Trying to line up both while the glue's wet, yeah, it's probably a bad idea. But yeah, hopefully this afternoon one of them will be glued on. Robert says, yeah, I watched Ben from Crimson Guitars install one of those MIDI pads a couple years ago in a guitar. It was crazy. Yeah, isn't that weird? Mike says, sounds good. Reflex testing. Sam says you could do with one of them flexible inspection cameras with a light. Be great for looking inside of things. I have one of those in my shopping cart right now, and I've thought about that exact same thing. I might just order that. Because for that exact reason, so that you could just look in there and like really get around and see what's going on. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. We're on the same page for that. I think that's a good idea. Mike says, trust yourself. It does sound like a bad idea. I mean, in theory, it sounds okay, right? If you don't think about the challenges that come along with it, right? You put the glue, you fit the back, you put the glue, you fit the top, and then you use a clamp from either side. If you could do it, it would save a lot of time. But trying to get everything in place while the glue's setting up, yeah, I'm not doing it. Bad idea. And I do that all the time. You think of something and you're like, oh, this would really save, and at the end result, it's not a good. Dallas says, probably one of your next project is going to be making flexibility measurement tool. Maybe. I've seen, some people get very, very scientific about both voicing the top and testing flex and all of that, I've seen quite the setups for doing some of those measurements. It's kind of crazy. Um, I don't know how in depth you really need to get. It's really for me a more understanding the process and what I'm looking for. Really, the first guitar build was mainly about getting it done. I mean, understanding the process along the way, but I mean, I tried to tune it as best I could, but I really didn't know what I was listening for. I mean, just because it's not something I've ever done. This time I'm trying to be a little bit more deliberate in some of the steps, like this one, testing the flex and all of that. Um, it's still a learning process, and that's what I like about it. Let's see. Harry Dude says I've used a webcam on my PC and an LED torch to inspect inside guitars. Worked well. There's one that I was looking at. It's kind of a separate unit, right? It's got a little screen deal and a big long flexible thingy, technical term. It's got little LEDs on the end. It looks really just an inspection camera of some sort. But you can record video from it, take pictures, all kinds of stuff. So you could like, I could go inside the guitar, record a video, and use that, pull that clip out of there. It actually seemed kind of cool. So I might, and it wasn't that expensive. It was less than, I don't know, less than $100 or less than $80 or I can't remember exactly, but it seemed like a decent little unit. But yeah, a webcam would work good too. It's just a little bit bigger. Well, the webcam I have anyway is a little bit bigger. It'd be kind of hard to maneuver down through there. I think it would fit through the sound hole. Might have to try that too. Mike says, no, stop it. Bad idea. An angle grinder of an idea. Yeah. Sam says, if you know a bit about electronics, you can make a custom fan bar for multiple computer fans and the PSU. You could, yeah, if you needed some sort of if you had an application for something like that. Yeah, Dallas says yes. Many builds, I'm guessing, and stack the data. Yes, you are absolutely correct. The first guitar, you just want to get it done and kind of understand what you're doing and why. The second one, I can already see. You look at, yes, you're stacking the data as you go, and the more you build, the more data you have to stack, the more things you have to pull from, more experience. And yes, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not trying to get too far into the weeds on it, but I want to spend a little bit more time, on certain steps. And this step right here, building the flex into the top, is one that I want to explore a little bit. It's also, this whole process is a lesson in patience. The first guitar was too, really, but you kind of, I could have glued these on yesterday. Well, this one I'm not quite done fitting yet, but I could have just done it and gotten ahead of myself. But I'm really being specific to not do that. Harry Dude says, ever watch Project Farm? His data collection and analysis is pretty cool. The repeatability of testing is the key. Yes, I love that channel, Project Farm. If you guys haven't watched it, I don't know the guy or anything, but he does, he'll just take a group of something and test, and try to figure out whatever it is the best. He tests pretty much anything you can imagine. From tools and just absolutely anything. Lawnmowers and lawnmower blades and tools and vices and you name it. And he comes up with some very cool methods for testing different things And yeah, if you haven't seen it, he's a pretty big channel. I don't know, 2 or 3 million subscribers or something like that. Um, his videos are very fast paced, which I kind of like. Um, and he just works through all of these different things. And if there's a tool, he's probably tested it. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, Project Farm. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool. Sam says, possible idea for the pond in your yard. A miniature working lighthouse in the middle. Actually, that would be kind of cool. That would be. Mike says, don't let me tell you later that I told you so. Failures are only exposed in what you show in your videos. Just don't do it. My last comment, patience is being tested. No, I will not. I am not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to shortcut, not trying to cut corners. I'm not going to carve the braces with an angle grinder. I'm trying to take my time, do it carefully, especially with a project like this, that ideally will last for years and years and years. It's not like, it's not like we're building a shelf or, some shop project that really doesn't matter. And if it breaks, you just remake it. This type of a project, I mean, it should last. I don't want to say indefinitely, but you know what I mean. It should last a very long time. So I don't want to I don't want to cut corners, and I'm not going to. So, Mike, you won't have to tell me I told you so. I hope. I will do my best to not let that happen. How about that? Let's see. Harry Dude says drill holes through the braces. Speed holes. No. Tone holes. Better tone, right? Know Your Joe says this channel live stream was just recommended to me. What is it about? Well, Know Your Joe, welcome. Well, this is Home Built Workshop. My channel is a lot of woodworking and DIY type stuff. Right now, I'm working on building an acoustic guitar, and we have these live streams every Wednesday morning, where we just talk about workshop stuff and kind of what I'm working on and what kind of projects you all are working on, and it's just a bunch of us hanging out for an hour or so, having a good time. I'm usually having a cup of coffee, and yeah, we're just talking about woodworking and instruments and all that kind of stuff. So if any of that kind of DIY, building stuff, using your hands to make or fix things sounds good, love to have you tune in, stick around. I'm glad you stopped in. So that's cool that it was recommended. So what do you do? Know Your Joe? Do you work on do you DIY woodworking, building things, something like that? Sam says if you don't cut corners, then I guess 45-degree angles are out of the question. Yes. Mike says thumbs up. Right on. Know Your Joe says nice. I will hang out and check it out. Well, that's awesome. Let me grab this top again. I'll show you here real quick, just a tiny bit. This is just something I'm working on right now. This acoustic guitar. I'm working on getting it put together. Right now, I'm just working on shaping these braces and getting ready to glue this top onto the body that I just finished working on. Well, at least for now, finished working on. It's not done, but. Let's see. Sam says, don't forget to like. Right on. Sam Pack and Rick's here. Says, welcome, Joe. I'm just joining in myself, but been here many times. Rick, how are you doing today? How's everything going up in your neck of the woods? Know Your Joe says, I have a lot of interests. LOL. Know Your Joe? You and me both. I like to get into a little bit of everything. In fact, I just made these little finger planes for shaping the braces on my acoustic guitar, and there is a little bit of I made these irons from an old saw blade, so there was a little bit of metalworking in there. We had some woodworking in there, and this will be used for guitar building. So I mean, a lot of different stuff from woodworking, metalworking, 3D printing, CNC once in a while, and all kinds of interests. And really I think I'm not going to speak 100% for everybody, but I believe that a lot of us really we just like to do stuff. We just like to get out there and make something. It doesn't matter if it's wood, metal, leather, leather work, and any of that stuff. If I can try to make it myself, that's what I enjoy. Robert says, I've seen other channels doing acoustic builds use those spool clamps to glue the top and back to the sides. It takes a lot of those clamps, but good thing is you can make your own clamps. Yes, I've made a few. I've got, I don't know, half a dozen of them or so. I actually intended to use spool clamps for at one point before I really gotten into building the acoustic, and I might revisit those because I could see, you'd have, I don't know how many you'd need, 20 or 30 of them probably to go around, and I feel like it might work better than a go bar deck, honestly. I think you could get just a little bit more pressure. You don't want to go too crazy because I could see where you could break a side if you clamped them too securely. But I feel like that might be easier. I don't know. Don't know. I also see people using, regular, like the cam clamps. I see those. In fact, that's how Eric Schaefer glues his on. In his online course, he uses clamps. I think like I said, I think I'll use the Go Bar deck this time around again. But I do feel like spool clamps might work really good for this. So I got to keep that in mind. Sam says quad battery chargers are worth getting if you can get them for your tools. I think I can. Know Your Joe says, how did you calculate the depth of the guitar body? I am working off of plans. I have a set of plans for this particular guitar, and I'm just using the dimensions in that plan. This is my second acoustic guitar that I've built, so I am not straying too far off of that plan yet because I want to feel comfortable in the whole entire building process. And this being only my second one, I'm still learning a lot of the process. But yeah, I'm just working off of the plans. However, that is something that is easily modified. You can make it, you can play around with the depth and stuff. My understanding is a little deeper helps increase bass response. Narrower gives it a little more treble response, or maybe it cuts the bass response. But that is something that that is easily you could play around with pretty easy. But right now, just being on my second build, I'm just sticking with the dimensions in the plans, so I didn't have to do any sort of calculations. Know Your Joe says, is that Purple Heart? Yes, it is. Purple Heart in maple. Little finger plane. I just posted a video on making these on my channel. Just went up on this past Saturday, so if you're interested, go over there and check it out. You can see how I made these little guys. Super fun and definitely worth making. I made a whole bunch of them. A bunch of different, just playing around with different shapes and wood material, and yeah, super cool. This one's Paduke and maple. Some nice shavings in there. Mike says, gotta go. Thanks all. Take care. Right on, Mike. Well, thanks for stopping in. Hope you have an awesome day. Beware of those other Mike Johnsons out there, especially that one that doesn't pay his bills. Sam Packett says, ciao, Mike. Know Your Joe says, I've been checking out a lot of 3D printing. Nice. Do you have your own printer? I do. I do a fair bit. I do a lot of jigs and stuff. In fact, here's some little 3D printed sanding blocks that I use for shaping the tops of my braces to get to get a nice round over on there. And just a lot of jigs and fixtures and stuff like that to help out around the shop. Sam says you could teach young kids some kid-friendly carpentry skills on the kids' YouTube. You know, I've pondered different ideas like that. The the challenge is that I don't fully understand. The kids YouTube has a whole different um, set of rules almost, and I don't fully understand how all of that works. Um, so yeah, until I understand more of that, I probably won't go that route at the moment. Noyer Joe says, "Sent packing, thanks." Sam says, "What website did you get your 3D printer from?" My 3D printer is from Creality, not sponsored. I purchased it. I have the Ender 3 version 2. I've had it for, I don't know, 3 years or so now. Maybe 2, 3. I think 3. And, it's been working fine. I've had 1 or 2 minor breakdowns and, easy repairs to get it back up and running. It hasn't never been anything serious. But yeah, so far it's been a great machine for that price point. I don't think you can go wrong, really. Sam says, understandable of the kids' YouTube. Yeah, it's just a whole different world over there. Know Your Joe says, do not have a 3D printer. I'm looking, but not sure how useful they are. A lot of what I have seen uh, in the past was people printing out plastic whatnots that did not seem very durable. I am fascinated. Let me show you. Let me dig out a couple things here. I hope I'm gonna try not to step out of frame. So yes, I agree with you that a lot of things people make are just little trinkets and little things, right? That don't seem very useful. Some people do it for collecting like figurines and whatnot. Oh, there's a couple, one of the spool clamps. But the way I look at it, I'm just trying to grab a few different random things here. The way I look at 3D printing is, and I know several others that do the same. Harry, dude, I know you kind of use it the same way I do. I use it to make things for the shop that are like tools and jigs. Like here's a couple of French curves that I printed out just to help with drawing arcs and lines. And these things work out great. This is just something I found online already. I didn't design these, but most of my stuff that I print, I try to design myself. Even if I can download a model of it already, number one, it helps me with using the design program and just building things, even if it's simple. But I also don't like to use designs that are not my original designs. I have several different files and things that I do have listed available on my website. So I try to design everything for myself. This is a template that I drew up for my guitar bridge, my acoustic guitar bridge. 3D printed it, and I use that as a router template to shape the bridges. Another thing that I've been making a fair bit of are radius sanding blocks, right? So you stick double-sided, or you stick adhesive back sandpaper to it, and it helps you sand the radius into your fretboards. I've got, I don't know, a dozen of these things printed up in different radiuses and multiple deals here. But for me, 3D printing has really been it's really been a big help for doing things around the shop, especially for because you can accurately draw things up and just print it out, and it's really been very helpful for a lot of stuff like that. I'm trying to think what else I have. Oh, here's one right here. 3D printed a little template for brace ends for acoustic guitar. Just a lot of stuff like that. that I make, and it's really been helpful for me. As far as doing like figurines and little trinkets, that's not what I use mine for. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not, and if that's what you use it for, that's cool. But for me, it's really just been another tool, um, and I'm not even using super exotic materials. This is just standard PLA. It's probably the easiest material to work with, and and I've never had, as long as it's designed correctly, I've never had an issue with anything failing, and it's just been working out great. Harry Dude says, I 3D print a lot of tools, router templates, measuring tools, gauges. Yes, exactly. That's exactly um, that's exactly the same thing that I do. I think we use our machines for a lot of the same type of stuff, and I think it's just great for that. Sam says, would you be able to include the link for the website you got the 3D from in your about page? If so, that would be awesome. I feel like I've got a link somewhere. In fact, I know I have a link somewhere. I'll see what I can. I'll see what I can do. It's listed. It's listed in the. I did a video, kind of an unboxing and setup when I bought my printer, and if you look back to when I did that, there's a link in the description for that. Is it an affiliate? Do I have an affiliate link? I might have an affiliate link through them. Can't remember, honestly. But yeah, I'll see if I can find something and put that on there. I know it's listed somewhere. Here dude says, I've even 3D printed cymbal mounts for my electric drum kit. Oh yeah, I could see that. Robert says, the only experience I had with any kind of 3D printing was using the filament type of machine. I've watched the ones using resin. Don't have a printer myself, just supported STEM workshop. He says the resin type look like they could be messy. Yeah, I agree. Part of me wants a resin printer, just because I have seen the detail that they can do, and it's really cool. But yeah, that's a little bit messy, and you got to be able to cure it. Know Your Joe says, curious about the usefulness of the machines and materials between FDM, I think it's what it's called, and resin units. Yeah, I think they both do sort of the same thing, right? You put a design in there and it prints it. The FDM, like I don't know if this will focus. Maybe you can sort of see lines in there, and that's one of the traits of an FDM printer, right? Because it prints it in layer. It's depositing. Think of it as a giant glue gun, right? In goes the glue stick, out comes a little melted stream of glue. Basically the same thing as a 3D printer, only on a smaller scale. So it's printing lines of filament, and as it works its way up. So you do kind of get the lined texture that you don't get with resin. Let's see if I can find these. I'll have to show you if I can find them. Now these are kind of small, so I don't know how this is going to work out. Now, Neptune's is not in here today, I don't believe, but this is a little teeny miniature of the of my sanding blocks. And this is printed, and Neptune printed this on his resin printer. But it's super tiny. The lines are all but non-existent. There's like it is smooth. So I think the results are better with the resin, but this is really the only thing that I have that's ever been printed in resin. But I think you might get a little bit higher quality with the resin as opposed to the FDM. But for the stuff that I use an FDM printer for, I've not had any issue. And, you know, the fact that there's got some lines on there, I kind of like. It gives you grip. Harry Dude says, I needed a fret height gauge, so I bought a dial gauge and 3D printed a holder for it to go over the frets. Oh, yeah, good call. I've been thinking about something like that too, a dial gauge. Robert says, you also used your 3D printer was to make the inserts for the router bit storage. Yes, you're absolutely correct. See if I can scoot this out of the way. So, hopefully you can, it's going to be kind of hard to see, but I have these, I made these little inserts that hold router bits. You know, they holds both a 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch router bits. Just 3D printed inserts that I drill a hole, put the inserts in. I mean, there's just, I always am finding uses for 3D printing. Sam says, thank you, good sir. Thank you, Sam. Adela says, you make me want to learn how to use a 3D printer. I want to make some accurate jigs with that. I think it's a helpful tool. I really do. The hardest part, I'd say, is, you know, learning how to do the design stuff. Again, that's why I like to draw everything up myself if I can, just because everything is an exercise in one technique or another. Know Your Joe says, what software do you use to create a tool or part? How long is the learning curve? I personally use Fusion 360. Now there's several, you know, there's lots of different things you can use. There's tons of even free designs that you can just download and use. Like I already mentioned, I don't like to do that because I like to use my own designs. You know, you can go on and download models for this, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to design my own, just because, you know, copyrights and whatever. Not really copyrights. Yeah, I guess it might be. I just like to make my own stuff. But Fusion 360. Now I can't speak for the other designs. So those of you that have experience with that, you know, can tune in or chime in and comment on that. Fusion 360, in my opinion, does have a bit of a learning curve. But I feel like if you have experience in any of the other design software, it's not horrible. But if you're starting with the CAD stuff from scratch, as I did, I do feel that there's a fair bit of learning curve, and you just need to spend some time watching tutorials and all that sort of stuff. But yes, I would say there is, but it's not, you know, it's not something you can't do. Robert says, main issue with the 3D printer I help with at the workshop was very slow. Yes, that is a downside. These take, I don't know, 13 or 16 hours to print. At first that was very frustrating, but now I've kind of figured out how to work around that. You know, I just know that if I've got a long print to do, I need to start it at a time where I usually just let it run overnight. And then it's printing, you know, I don't know, you know, some may say, you know, don't leave it unattended, blah, blah, blah. But that's what I do. I start it at a time where I know that the print can get started, and then I just let it run overnight. And you know, the worst thing I've ever had happen is, you know, running out of filament or, you know, something like that. But it is kind of slow. Know Your Joe's, how strong are the materials in 3D printing? Well, like I said, this is PLA. I would say maybe it's not the absolute weakest material, but it's definitely not the strongest material. I've not had an issue for the things that I build. You know, there are other materials that you can use that are stronger, more durable, more heat resistant, UV resistant. You can even get materials that have carbon fiber infused in there, which I think would be a cool, something cool to play around with. But as long as you have a printer that can handle those different types of materials, I've not had an issue with strength for the type of things that I use it for, tools and templates and jigs and stuff like that. It's been working fine. And I'm not using mine for any sort of really high stress type applications. There are materials for that. There's a ton of different ones. It's almost overwhelming if you start really digging into it. But for the stuff I make, regular old PLA's it's been working awesome. Sam says you could 3D print miniature guitars and make them into key rings to sell in a YouTube shop. Yeah. I've thought about that. I've thought about a lot of stuff. Checking them off the list is the hard part. Nicholas says hardest part of 3D printing for me was maintaining the printer and having to print every single thing 3 times for one good part. Just made the cost better to buy the stuff. Interesting. I rarely do I have a failed. I shouldn't say this. I'm going to jinx myself. But rarely do I have a failed print anymore. I did it first, but I think a lot of that comes down to how you clean the bed and how you level the bed, and you got to be diligent on those steps. And most of the time, my prints, outside of a mechanical issue or something breaking or having a nozzle worn out, everything just works most of the time. But yes, there was a time when I was still learning the machine, I'd have a lot of, just like failed print. I'm going to fill up the trash can. Hair Dude says I do most of my design in OpenSCAD, because I like the programming style of the design. Whoops, get back here. Programming style of design means I can adjust numbers and the design adjusts itself accordingly, very close to programming in C. Yes, you can also do that in Fusion. You can use what's called parameters, so where you just, you're basically creating a sheet with all your dimensions and you can just adjust those and your part adjusts. It's pretty cool. He says, I found Tinkercad the easiest software to use, online cut down version of Fusion 360. Oh, I haven't tried that. Sam says, if you run the printer overnight, you can plug it through a safety trip switch for additional safety. Yes, I do have it. It probably doesn't make much difference, but I do have it plugged into like a, circuit breaker, surge protector thingy. So, if maybe something shorted out, it would trip the thing instead of something else. I don't know. I don't know if it makes any difference, but I at least have it plugged into that. Robert says, I saw a video or fault in a 3D printer. The mess looked like a messed up bird's nest. It was, of course, the filament type printer. Yep, I have seen some of those. I had a buddy who had a printer, and the same printer as me, but he got so frustrated. He's like, this thing's piece of junk. It won't work. And 30 minutes of cleaning and readjusting and stuff, and it worked perfectly. I fixed it up for him. But actually, I've done that for a few people. People had a guy that lives in the area was having an issue with his printer. He couldn't get it to work, and we just had to readjust it correctly, and it works fine. But yeah, so you keep it clean. I clean the bed with isopropyl alcohol, before I start any long print. Doesn't matter even if I just cleaned it yesterday. And I re-level the bed, make sure it's good, and that most of the time I find that works well. You just keep it clean and keep the bed level, and they work pretty good. Even you don't need the super expensive ones, although they would be nice. Mine's not a super high-end expensive unit. It's been working great. So, anyway, guys, we are at the point in the episode where I need to wrap this up. I need to move along and finish carving these braces, shaping these braces, getting this fit to the rim so that I can hopefully get one of these glued on today. So, as much as I'd love to keep hanging out and chatting shop and projects and 3D printing and the whole 9 yards, as they say, we have come to the point in the show where we got to wrap this up, move it along. So, Know Your Joe says, how big of a 3D printer do you need to make things useful? I think the bet on mine is like 230 millimeters. That's how they size it. 200, is it 230? That sounds about right. Yeah, it's about 230 millimeters by 230 millimeters. I think it's maybe it's 200. But I've come across a couple things that I would like to make that it's just a little bit small for. But in general, I find that's a pretty decent size for a lot of stuff that I want to do. So just an idea, you know. Sam says, thanks for the fantastic stream today. Be safe, everyone. Heritage says, later, folks. Catch you all next week. Know Your Joe says, when will you have your next live stream? What printer do you have? And thanks. Know Your Joe, I hit the live button at 9 o'clock Mountain Time every Wednesday. That's Mountain Time. You have to do the calculations depending on what area of this great big world you're in. 9 a.m. MST, Mountain Standard Time. We go live. And every Wednesday. I also do weekly project videos on the YouTube channel. Those usually go up on Saturday, sometimes Sunday. Yeah, love to have you tune back in and hang out with all of us here. And you know, this is not a set format. We just come on and we talk about, you know, we like today we ended up talking about 3D printing. Sometimes it's guitars, sometimes it's, you know, whatever. It's always an open format. Feel free to ask any question. Don't ever feel like you can't ask on a topic. You know, we're all you know, well versed. There's a lot of different areas of expertise. So I'd love to have you tune in next Wednesday if you can, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So. And what printer do I have? The Creality Ender 3 version 2. That's the one that I have. Robert says, worst experience I ever had was with an inkjet printer. Having issues and turned it upside down. Oh no, I already know where this is going. Not knowing it had an open well of ink and made a mess. Yeah. Robert says, everyone stay safe and healthy. Dallo says, have a good week. Right on, guys. Thanks again. If you didn't already hit that thumbs up button, hit that sucker on your way out. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys all have an awesome week. Get out in your shops or workspaces. Make some cool stuff with your hands. And have a good time. Be safe. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Take care, guys. We'll catch you next time.